to my channel. My name is Carol and today I'm going to start to make a new dress. I got curtains from the thrifting store like 2 or 3 years ago. I really can't remember. I'm gonna try to find, I think I made a video when I was at the thrifting store. If I found a video, I'm gonna post here. So here's the curtains. They're so pretty with those flowers. I'm not a flower person when it comes to clothes, but when I saw them at the thrifting store, I somehow connect them with the cherry trees that I have here close where I live, and I was like, why not to make a dress to match the cherry trees? So that's why I got the curtain. So they were so cheap, around maybe $4, something like that. So I got 2 curtains. Looks like it's going to fray a lot, those fabrics. Okay, we're not going to give up now, are we? No, okay, we're not going to give up. We're gonna go for it. First, let's talk about the inspiration for the design. I actually was thinking why I never use those curtains to make a dress. I guess because I never came across a design that I really loved and matched the fabric. But I have a friend who sent me this picture here for me, and I was like, oh my god, look at that. I think it's gonna look perfect with the curtain dress. So I really much love that the corset dress. It's like very deep, it's like very low waist. It's gonna come like this. And I was looking at Pinterest some inspirations for more drop waisted dresses, and then I saw that some of them don't have like the corset and finish. They just have the middle of the fabric, and yeah, like here, and gather stuff on the sides. So it's the pattern I'm gonna use. It's going to be the mood fabric pattern, the Memoir dress, View B from Helen Castillo. So I love this pattern because it's a red low waist, dropped waist, and I think it's going to be easy to modify to make into a dress, if you know what I mean. So hang there with me. I speak 3 languages, so it's going to be a lot of spelling mistakes. Help me down the comments if I say something wrong. Carol, don't say that, it's wrong, say like this. I appreciate your comments, okay? The pattern is for free. Just to remind you, this is not sponsored or anything. I just came across the pattern, and I have cat here on me now. I just came across the pattern and I love it. I like the bust area. I like that it's drop waisted. I like that you can maybe put a zipper at the back or use as a corset. I think it's gonna be very nice. Oh, sorry, I have cat hair on my face. Here I'm gonna show you a little bit how I glue the pattern together. You just have to make the squares and it's gonna be fine. And if you don't want to cut it off your size, you can just mark with the pen like I did and then transfer to another paper. In my case, I use those, and then you can just transfer your size and cut it off. I only want my size in another paper because in case of a friend or someone asks, can you make this dress for me? And then I don't need to go ahead and print everything again, you know what I mean? So I did that. And what more? If it's your first time using the mood fabric pattern, I really advise you to try the pattern first in another fabric, because you never know if something's gonna go wrong. Like in my case, size 2 was fine in the waist, was fine under the bust, but the boobage area was so big. It was like crazy big. I need to fix the pattern, so I need to go ahead and use maybe half an hour, something like that, 40 minutes to um, fix the pattern before. So now I guess it's fine. I should try one more time, but I really don't have time. I will take a risk. I'll take a risk, and I will cut into the fabric. But before I cut into the fabric, I'm gonna go to my swing table and I'm gonna iron the fusible where I'm gonna sew, where I'm gonna cut the bodice, okay? And then I'm gonna show you on the table some modifications I'm gonna make, so the bodice is gonna look a little bit like our inspiration pictures. So let's start sewing and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it, okay? Thank you. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to iron the fusible on my fabric, and I'll leave my fabric to cool down. I think I wait around 2 or 3 hours before I start to work with the fabric, so the fusible stays better when you wait before you cut your pattern into the fabric. So, and then I took my pattern pieces and I draw on the fabric because I was thinking where I want the flowers to be. And I also did modify the front piece to have the triangular on the front. So the pen I'm using here is actually a pen that can be washed. It's a washable. And also during the project, I'm going to use another pen that it's going to disappear when you iron the fabric. So I'm going to do the drawing like this just for inspiration. So probably going to modify the design of the front corset a lot during the project. So now it's time to start sewing the pieces together. And here's the order that I'm sewing this the pattern. I think it's the same they explain at the website when you download the pattern. So you can also see the instructions there. And this is exactly the same what I did here. And I also gave a good press. Iron is very important, especially with this fabric, because it doesn't look nice in this case if you don't iron everything. Very nice. So here it is, all the piece together. I didn't find this hard to sew, to be honest, this pattern. So you just have to be very careful when you sewing the curves. And of course, the bottom there looks very messy. It's because I'm still decide what design I'm going for there. Now I'm gonna cut my pattern pieces for the lining, and I actually did before I cut my before I sew, I mean my corset, because I use the pieces like a pattern. You know what I mean? Now it's time to sew the lining, and I'm gonna sew the lining the same way I sew the main pieces of my corset. And also at this point, I think I missed the video, but I also decide the shape that is gonna have down there. Remember, it was very messy after I sewed the front piece, and now we can see that I cut and I measure, and I think I decided that it's going to be like that. So after I iron the lining, I'm gonna sew bias tape on the seam allowance from the lining because I'm gonna make a case to insert the boning. I'm gonna use a stronger boning in this dress, so that's why I think it will look better if I make the case on the lining. And I'm using a cotton bias tape for it, and I think it's working. Looks cute on the lining. I think I like with the polka dots. I also gave some stitches there on the seams because I think it looks very cute. And also I'm gonna add stripes because I feel more comfortable to have the stripes. I think the dress is gonna be a little bit heavy. And also before I sew the stripes, I'm gonna cut on the diagonal and because it gives a better fitting when you're doing like that. I'm gonna give some stay stitches on the stripes just to keep them in place because I'm gonna work a lot with that part of the dress.
Hello everybody! So I am in the middle of this dress and I got a message from a friend and she sent me a couple of pictures, inspiration, and asked me if I could make a dress for her. And guess what? Almost the same pictures, inspiration that I show you guys in the beginning, and I was like, no way. So that it was very cool. Anyway, and then I asked her if she liked the fabric that I'm working with, the curtains, and she liked the fabric, so I'm happy for that. So she sent to me her measurements and I transfer her measurements to this mannequin here, and I'm trying to work with her measurements with that bodice, so I don't need to start over again because it's gonna take too long time for me to transfer the pattern size and everything that I did on this one here already. So I'm starting to think about making some changes here on this bodice. So I'm gonna start with the back. The back I'm gonna sew like hoops with this bias that I have, satin bias that I have, that is going to be like zipper on the skirt and is going to be corset lace up at the back. So that's the plan. Let's see.
Time to cut the skirt, and I'm gonna use also the Mood Fabric website because they have a very good circle skirt calculator there. So I'm gonna go for mini, half fullness, and my waist measurement I'm gonna set there, it's 100 centimeters. That measurement is my side seams to side seams twice because I want to gather that skirt. Okay, so my radius is 31.19, so I did the radius there in my fabric and the length that I chose for my skirt, and I cut my front piece. So for now I'm only working on the front panel of the dress, not for the front skirt, because my dress is going to have pockets, so that's why I'm gonna cut the front panel and the back panel. This time I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do overlock on my panel because it's fraying a lot. It's so annoying, this fabric. And I'm gonna mark at the middle of the skirt, and I'm also gonna give two gather stitches in the half skirt because that's how I'm gonna try to find out how I'm gonna cut the pattern for this skirt. So here is the front panel of the skirt. I did overlock already the hem and the side seams to fray less. And exactly at the middle I did this line with my special pen that when I'm gonna iron is going to disappear, okay, the marks. So what I did here, I gather stitch at 1/2 centimeter and 5 centimeter again. So please, if you are making this dress, if you're watching me and making this dress, don't do this pattern on your nice fabric. Please try to do this first in another fabric that you can throw away if anything goes wrong, because I'm actually, this gathering stitch is just because I want to make the pattern, to cut to fit this here, okay. So what I did here, so I did the gather, 3 gathering stitches, 1/2 centimeter, 1/2 and 1/2, just at the middle, because afterwards I'm gonna put in 1/2 and cut the rest and gather again. So what can happen here, that my gathering stitch will probably broke a little bit the fabric. I hope not, but maybe. So here is the bodice, okay. And what I did, I mark here in the middle too. That's gonna match this line. So let's see if I can do with one hand because I'm trying to film at the same time. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna match there because this is the side seams, right? And we are working only with the front panel. So what I'm gonna do, I'm trying to straighten this under here. That's gonna be exactly on this line, okay? And this is gonna match here in the middle, exactly here. And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it. Here where we are is the middle of the skirt, mark with the pen, and here's the middle of the bodice, mark with the pen also, and I pin it. And also I did a line, straight line here, because from 1 centimeter from here to there, because the seam allowance. And the gathering on the skirt is matching this line under the bodice, and here is the side seams, correct, because I want to add pockets. So that's why my skirt is going to have the side seams. So anyway, now that I have a little bit idea where I need to have my gathering, so I'm gonna try to make my gathering here nice, and I'm gonna come with the pen, this pen again, and give some marks here, because here's going to be how my skirt needs to look for me to gather again and sew in all way here. So I removed the gathering stitches and I was left with the pen marks that I did. So now we have a little bit the idea of the shape that has to be the skirt before we sew the skirt and the corset together. I'm sure, guys, it's a better way to know the shape, but I was kind of tired and desperate, and I don't know how this idea came in my mind. Never saw this anywhere. So if you have a better idea, so please comment under this because I need to know. Oops. I cut here because of the seam allowance when I did the marks, right? It needs to have the seam allowance. So I guess it's going to be something like this. Last case scenario, I will fix at the hem. I think it's going to work. Something happened here. The hem, no, it's right. Just double check. It's okay, yeah. So the skirt looks like this. Now I'm gonna come with the iron and take off this marks. Did the same with the back pieces, but at the back I'm going to leave the way it is because I remember I straightened my back, so I think it's gonna be fine. The only thing I'm gonna do here, I will divide this in two in the middle because it's gonna have a zipper and it's going to have the side pockets. Okay, now you guys have to promise me you're not gonna laugh, but it's the way I make my pockets pattern. Very easy, and it's working for me. So so I hope you like the way I do my pockets. I'm gonna sew the back seams until and leave 10 centimeters there because of the zipper. Time to sew the pockets on the skirt. And the thing is, you always sew right with the right together. And I'm gonna leave, I guess, 1.5 centimeters there. And I'm gonna sew only where the pocket is. So I sew the pocket pieces on my front skirt and also on my back skirt. And now I'm gonna iron and I'm gonna pin them together right with the right because it's time to make a long skirt before we sew into the dress. So I pin it around the pocket, down to the skirt, to the hemming, and where I pin there is exactly where I'm gonna sew my the side seams from my skirt. And now I have a very long completely skirt, let's say like that. So I actually forgot to give some stitches inside the pocket, the seam allowance from the pocket, so to keep the pocket in place. Sometimes I like to do that. So if you're doing this, it's a device I give to you. It looks nice, and I'm also gonna give already in the waist two gather stitches. And it's time to work with the hemming. I'm gonna use a horsehair braid. My horsehair braid is brown, but I guess it works fine. I don't want to buy a new one. I want to use what I already have at home. And I'm gonna use a piece of fabric to cover the ends. So what I did, I folded and I just gave like overlock at the edges. If you don't have overlock, you can definitely use zigzag stitch. And I didn't have like a size specific. I just did like freehand, and I left 1 centimeter out uh, from my horsehair braid because afterwards I'm gonna fold. I'm just trying to see how I'm gonna sew this horsehair braid because actually it's a couple of ways you can do that, but I wanna try a new way. I went to a store another day and I saw this beautiful dress and they sew the horsehair braids different from what I used to do it. So I decided to try this new technique. So I'm gonna go for a zigzag stitch very close to the corner from my dress, and remember I did overlock the edges, so I'm gonna be careful there too because I really need to watch if I'm taking the horsehair braid and the edges, and I have to change my needle a couple of times. And I'm gonna advise you, if you swim for horsehair braid, I think they stretch the needle for stretch fabrics was the best one in my opinion. So maybe I'm wrong. If anyone of you watching this video and has a better idea which needle is better for horsehair braid, please let me know. So I'm gonna the edge, the last end, I'm gonna set under that small piece of fabric and sew together. I'm gonna iron now around my skirt, my hemming, and I'm gonna leave around 4 millimeters to 5 millimeters there because I don't want to show the horsehair braid when I'm wearing this skirt. So after iron, I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and I'm gonna sew with invisible stitches. I actually forgot to to film this process. I'm sorry, but if you have invisible stitch on sewing machine, it's very easy. Just fold the fabric like this, and your machine, the needle will take a little bit of the piece that is folded and continue sewing, and then when it's finished you almost cannot see stitches to the right side of the fabric. I'm very happy with my hemming. It doesn't look like my horsehair braid is actually brown, so I'm very happy. It looks very beautiful and neat there. Now it's finally time to gather the skirt and sew together with the corset. So my lining is already done and I'm gonna sew the corset together with the skirt. So now it's time to start working with the back. So I'm gonna make the loops to sew at the back, and I'm gonna use a vintage bias tape that I have. It's a satin. I don't know if it's silk. It feels like silk actually. It's very shiny and pretty. I think it's going to work. I'm gonna fold at the middle and I sew it, and I'm gonna cut the pieces at 6 centimeters. And I think it was too big. Now I know because I'm doing the voice cover. So it should be maybe 4 or 5 even. And I'm going to start sewing then from the top of the corset at 1.5 centimeters. And from there, it's going to be 2 centimeters between them. After I attached all the hoops there at the back, I just gave some stay stitches because I'm still going to sew the lining and then it's gonna be a better finish there. So I'm gonna start to work with the zipper. What I did, I gave a stay stitch at the back just for me to have idea where I'm gonna sew the zipper, and I'm gonna give a hand stitch. I like to hand stitch my zipper before I actually sew my zipper, and then I will remove that stay stitch at the back and sew my zipper with my sewing machine. So I'm happy with the invisible zipper, looks cute and looks invisible. I also did the lining exactly the same way I did the main fabric with the skirt and all. And now I'm gonna do is cut the boning to add on my channels on the corset, and I will leave enough space for the seam allowance. After I cut the boning, I'm gonna treat the edges with a nail file so it doesn't poke the fabric and doesn't make holes after I insert the boning on my corset. And then I'm gonna press because I want the boning to get the form of the corset, and this boning is a little bit thick than the Ridgeline boning, so that's why I prefer to iron it when it's already inside the corset. Now it's finally the time to sew the lining together with the main fabric. Oh my god, it looks so cute already. And I'm gonna match the seams from the lining with the main fabric. Now I'm gonna sew only at the top, the neckline. And then I'm gonna iron, and I'm gonna bring all the seam allowance towards the lining, and I'm gonna stitch right there. there is the stitch, it to keep the lining in place and not show when you're wearing the dress. And my camera here did the slow motion. I didn't understand what happened here, but anyway, now it's time to close the dress at the back, the main fabric and the lining. So I'm gonna catch now the hoops and also gonna fold the seam allowance towards the lining, and then I'm gonna sew, and I'm gonna also sew where is the zipper, so it's gonna be the zipper and the hoops enclosed inside sandwich, let's say like that, between the main fabric and the lining. So I'm gonna give a good press, very important to iron here, and then I'm gonna give I'm gonna sew very close to the hoops, and another stitch I'm gonna sew because I want to insert another boning to make more structure at the back. So here it is, the boning case that I just made, and I'm gonna insert the boning under the skirt because we still have a hole there, but of course I'm gonna give some stitches in the bottom of that boning later, so he's not gonna fall down when my friend is wearing the dress. And I have to iron also this boning to keep it more straight. I think it looks cute, so I'm gonna give stitches here and there, and the dress is basically done. Also, I'm gonna give some stitches catching the main fabric and the lining just to keep the dress in place, you know what I mean, so it's not gonna move. So I'm gonna iron and give it, I'm gonna hand stitch because I think it's gonna be a better finish. You can, if you're doing this, you can do with sewing machine, but I like to hand stitch in this case here. And the dress is done. It looks so cute. So here's my friend wearing the dress, and she looks so beautiful. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye!